managed accounts completely, but I quickly realized we needed some personal spending money to avoid fights. So I don't know whether some you ended up having those personal accounts. But to me, this is what I would say about Sam and their relationship. Like I said before, guys, you are married. You share the same bed. Yeah. If you can share a bed with this person, you can really share money with them because otherwise you've allowed it to come between the two of you. If you want to find a woman that spends well, involve them with money. You men tend not to know this secret, but it's really key. Involve them with as regards to money. I know of a gentleman who they were not married, they were really in a relationship, okay, more like partners because they were living together. And then one time the lady asked the gentleman, there was a building project that they were having, and she wanted to find out how far it has gone. Uh, and the gentleman answered in reply that stick to the kitchen because that's where you belong and that's your place. And it hurt her so much. And she told me about it basically on the verge of tears because it really hurt that that's where he saw her fit. And from that day, she never involved herself in anything to do with money. Not that she had no ideas on what could be developmental, on what could take their relationship further. But as we speak, they even had to separate because already you've demarcated the line. When it comes to money, you suggest nothing, you are not anywhere. His me, it's a self-drive car, just with me one as the pilot. That is also not good. So the secret to a good, healthy financial relationship, you need to involve the lady. Let her know exactly how much you're earning, because when she does know, then she spends wisely. But because we don't know, we ladies tend to spend on assumption that you've got it all together, that you have it, you will find a way of meeting that need. And so you find yourself as a man buried in debt, buried in worry and concern, simply because you didn't involve her and she's been spending on assumption that it's there when it's actually not. So that's something that I think would help some from London. Yeah, I think putting finances together would be good instead of having, and then working on the disciplines of spending. Because if you put your money together and then you work at how you spend it, you sit together, draw a budget and decide, you know what, this is how much we have, this is what we need to do, what do we do first? That is something that is going to help take our relationships to the next level. Now, Joy from Barara texted and said, we didn't plan emergencies. When my partner lost his job, it was a wake-up call. Now we have an emergency fund. Good. That is very good. We need to, even in a relationship, to plan for for eventualities, things that could just come up. You don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. I mean, I could have that nice job today, but tomorrow it's gone. We are back to zero. Do you always keep on having those fluctuations in your relationship? So what we do is you plan and plan wise. Ideally, what I would suggest is this, that you sit, say this is how much we have, and then plan to spend wisely. And Rogers says, if one of us refused to become a business partner, really she or he still loves you. I know. When you talk about business partner, it's because you've involved her initially. If she does not, hey Dina, how are you, my dear? You say Kajambo. Rogers was asking after you, and I'm glad that you've tuned in. And Dina, just a quick reminder, we're talking about money and marriage. What really changes after the rings go on? Or in a relationship, you could be in a relationship dating, and then you choose to, make it official, and he proposes and you agree, you get engaged. What changes after that? Because finances are involved. It's no more about you, it's about us now. It's about him and you, yeah? So we need to hear your opinion on that one. Rogers, like I said, if a person really loves you, especially us girls, if I love you, I would not work to deplete all your money. In any case, I would give you money. So one sign that this is the girl for me. She would be willing to give you that money, not like act like a straw that sucks you dry on every account. Like every single time you're together, I don't have this, I didn't have this. I know of a guy who had met a girl online, and immediately the girl was saying, "My graduation is coming up, and we need tents. I need about 3 tents for my guests, and we need food and music." And I asked this person, before you met her, was she going to graduate? Who was going to meet that bill? Because now you've just barely met, about 2 weeks into uh, getting connected online, and already you're going to be footing the bill of the tents, the drinks, and eats. Who was going to? And transport for the visitors, the elder parents as they come to the graduation party. Who was going to meet that need had you not come in picture? So also us, when we are picking partners, we need to be, sieve a little. A person who loves you will try and save you as much money as possible. But a person who doesn't will be always looking to find you, and you are that ATM that meets their need. Be on a lookout for that one, and don't be fooled. That is not love. It is depleting. I know some men who say, hey, but that's the reason why I work, so that I can be able to meet the needs of my partner or my wife, but it's a wrong one, and we take it. And eventually relationships, guys, don't work out. Now, there was a story from Joy in Barara, and Joy texted and said, "We didn't plan emergencies when my partner lost his job. It was a wake-up call. Now we have an emergency fund." So that is how they handle their finances. They have an emergency fund that works for them. And because remember, I asked you to let me know how money and marriage. Is there anything that changes after the rings go on? So these are the stories that came in. And these stories show how common these issues are. So feel free to send yours as well. And drop them in the comments if you are watching on YouTube. I'll be able to read them, and together we can learn from each other. Now there's that big question. Why do you think money causes so many marital problems? Rogers, why does money cause so many marital problems? Dina, why does money cause so many marital problems? That is a question I had to ask, because money is tied to power, security, independence, and even love in our minds. Some people's minds, money is tied to power, to security, to independence, and even love in our minds. So conflicts over money are really conflicts. They are really, really conflicts over deep emotional needs. They are conflicts. Say like I'm in a relationship with you and I ask you for money to go do my hair, but I don't know that you really don't have money. But there's a way men are, or how men front the whole "I have money" when they want to woo you and get you to like them. They act as though money is not an issue, and yet they don't have money to sustain up that lifestyle. Now, when I ask you for money and you don't give me money and I want to go do my hair, guess what? I would start thinking maybe you don't love me anymore. That's why I said money is also attached to love in our minds. Yeah? Money is tied to power, because when you have the money, you feel like, you're something. It is tied to security. Us girls, when we are getting married, we are looking for someone who will take care of me, my financial needs, my family. If I have family that is depending on me, we are looking, money is tied to financial security, independence, because I know once I have money, I'll be able to do whatever it is that I want. And like I said, also love. So conflicts over money are really conflicts over deep emotional needs. Now, I agree that that is true because what are some of the worst mistakes, guys, you see that people who are newly married couples make? Are there mistakes that you see that people who have just gotten married or people who are in relationships, they've just met and they consider themselves as though they are dating? What are some of the common mistakes they make? Because I did an analysis on that, and to me they seem obvious because you're out of it and they are just entering, and so you can clearly see. I need to hear from you again, Shaboya, TJ, Cedric, Dina, Rogers, and anyone else that is watching. It's a live chat. Go ahead. Let me know some of the worst mistakes you see that newly married couples make or newly committed couples make. Because for me, these are some of the issues that I found. The biggest ones are keeping money secrets. You know you don't have money, but you keep. And if you have it, you hide it. You make sure you don't let me know. Because once then I find out, that is likely to break us up. It needs to be that when we are married or when we are in a relationship, let me know exactly how much you have. That is a mistake that I see many people making. They keep money as a secret. They don't reveal the entire money they earn because then they think if the woman gets to know, then she'll be more demanding. If the woman gets to know, then she'll be spending more. It is good that you trust each other and reveal entirely how much you have because that will help on your spending habits. It is foolish a person if you know put together our money is 500,000 and then you start spending seven or 800,000 and yet you know the both of you together you can only have money put together is 500,000. So really that transparency in money would be good. Now the biggest secret is the biggest problem would be keeping money secrets. Another one, the biggest one that newly married couples or newly dating couples make is assuming things will work out without a plan. Because now you're two people, if you start assuming we will buy that house, we will buy that car, we will be able to have children, we'll take them to good schools. If you do not have a plan, that can only be an assumption and it won't happen. So you need to think. It is key when you're newly married to have a plan on how you spend your money. What is it that is going to be taking up your money? I remember when we were getting married with my husband, we talked about how will we handle family. So remember we talked about families that someone could be married to you but has financial responsibility to family, and then the other one doesn't have. The other one has, because we come from different backgrounds. There are different ways we can handle money. Now, keeping financial secrets would tear your relationship because if you don't exactly tell me how much you're earning, guess what? I may spend on assumption you have when you don't because of what you're portraying yourself as, and then you find yourself bound in debt because you want to keep up with me and yet you don't have the money. So financial secrets, money secrets, assuming things will work out without a plan is also another one. Assuming you build that house, you pay rent, you'll be able to pay the bills without a plan. You need to have a plan as a couple. We will spend this much. We will go on holiday this year, but next year we are not going. We will visit. We will help this one this month, but not next month. We will be able to do this. If you don't have a plan, that is a mistake. Assuming things will work out without a plan, it's a mistake that we make as newly married or as people who are in a relationship, dating, where we are committing to spend life together. Because in Uganda, we have so many kinds of relationships. There are those who live together but are not married. And in their head, they are in a relationship. And they are truly in a relationship. It's just that they don't have the ring on it, but they are in a relationship. So another one is letting resentment build up. letting resentment build up is another thing that newly married couples do. You get in a relationship, you expect she'll bring something, you expected her to have some money, then you realize she had nothing, then you expected the man to be able to do certain things for you, but he's not. Then if you don't deal with that resentment that comes up, it may ruin a good thing that you've just started. Also, forgetting to talk about goals regularly. You may have a goal, but we tend to forget. You need to talk about those goals regularly. Say like you sit and you're like, we've just gotten married. How many kids do we want? Which schools do we want to put them in? If you sit, you communicate about goals frequently, because over time we may lose focus and want something else. An example is someone I was dealing with, and he had a plan to build a house, and he met his friends, and his friends told him, you know what, it's not wise to build a house for yourself now. It is better to invest that money in business, or start up something else than build a home now, and then you can always get that money and build yourself in the future. Now, if your goals are set, you need to be focused on what your goal is. You sit regularly and talk about your goals. We want 3 kids. What do we do to make sure that when we bring them into this world, they would not, suffer? We want to leave this neighborhood and go to a better one. What are we putting in place to help us get to that? We want to, different things that we have as goals to do in life. But if you don't regularly visit them and talk about them, you may lose focus and be on different pages. So that's a mistake also. Newly married people, or those who are just newly dating, make. Now, if someone is listening in right now and feels trapped financially in their marriage or relationship, I'm giving you pointers on what you should do. Yeah, these are just pointers. You can start with honest conversations, because if you are feeling financially trapped, because when I say financially trapped, nowadays, men, when they are looking to marry, they want to marry well. You have to be a girl that comes with something on the table. If you bring nothing, they don't want to know. But again, there is wrong reading that this girl has got this and this and this, and yet they don't have. Because us girls, we know how to clean up, and clean up really good. I look like I have the money. I smell like I've got it when I actually don't. Now, there are men who are schemers, who look out for these nicely dressed girls who act a certain way. And we've learned the art of looking posh, if I may put it. When we are not, actually, we come from the gutters.